Multifamily Mindset
podcast. Think bigger.
What's going on, my friends? Welcome to the MFM podcast. My name is Dallas Pruitt. I am the resident mindset coach and consultant at the Multifamily Mindset. I guess you could say that I'm the mindset side of multifamily. And really my job here at MFM is to serve this community and help you to continue to navigate the process of growing as an investor and as a person in totality. But on our Thursday episodes here, really what we do is we dive into the mental performance and the mindset side of being an investor, or rather becoming an investor. Yeah. And this past week we had Zach, our wonderful Zach Rucker, one of our coaches at the Multifamily Mindset, a great friend of mine who is killing it, by the way, on the MFM podcast. It is really fun to see him continue to come into his own as a leader, as a father, as an investor himself in multifamily real estate. And he's a great friend. And it's just been super fun to see him come to life even more inside of this podcast. He's killing it with the interviews. And this past week he interviewed Jeff Ervick, and his story is a great one. 428 doors in 1 year. He comes from a high earner background of, meaning he had a skill set prior to coming here in sales, which obviously has been extremely applicable and transferable here in the multifamily space and in his journey as an investor. And I want to pick apart a couple of really important things that I gleaned from listening to Jeff's story that hopefully provides you as the listeners with a ton of value and insight in your own journey that you can learn from. One of the things that I noticed about Jeff and his story, and again, super grateful for him, is that he learned a lot prior to coming into this network. He came in with a lot of value, meaning like he had accumulated skills. Now, I want to retract just a sec. Everybody comes in with a massive amount of value into any network they go into. It's just being able to see that value, right? I think a lot of the time our limiting beliefs, the false narrative we tell ourselves, the bad story we're telling ourselves as we come into a situation keeps us from exuding or showing that value. But that value is there regardless of your background, whether it's like Jeff's, and you came in with all of these prior skills, or you're somebody who maybe your skills are in a different avenue that maybe aren't perfectly transferable and you have to learn a little bit more, right? Maybe your starting point's a little bit different than what Jeff's was, but the value, no matter who you are, is there, and it's our job to let that exude from us. Let that value shine. But Jeff is a prime example of, again, letting that value shine, and I think that he built up a massive amount of confidence and clarity prior to coming into the MFM network. But I want to touch on something really powerful, and that is that he spoke to the value of a network, and it is a true principle in the process of growth. Environment plays a huge part. Getting around like-minded people who are striving to accomplish the same types of goals in which you are striving to accomplish, that is a way to get a leg up in progress and growth with your goals. And I think all too often, many of us, maybe you are one of these people listening to this podcast that has yet to tap into a network of those like-minded people. Many of us really do get stuck in learning about the types of things we want to do, and we stay stuck there learning, not connecting, not reaching out, not putting ourselves out there. And there is so much to be said about the choice to connect, the choice to get into a room, the choice to get into a network of people who are wired like you, who have common goals like you. And so he's a great example of this, and I love that he spoke to the value of the network. But he also spoke to team dynamics, and I wanted to highlight a little bit of this in today's episode, is that he mentioned the importance of looking to who and not how you're going to do everything. He has really built up quite the resume. He's diversified his investments. He's not strictly focused on multifamily, although it's a big bucket in which he's working right now. But he has been able to grow at the capacity that he is currently serving and building, a large in part due to the fact that he has not solely focused on how he could do it all by himself. He has focused and built his business and his growth around.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you take a moment to leave us a review and a rating. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Plus, we love hearing from you. Thanks so much for your support.
Tapping into the who's. Now, a great resource is out there for any of you who haven't read it yet. It's called Who Not How. It's by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I would highly recommend it. For anybody who maybe is stuck in that solopreneur phase or stuck in the thought process of, man, how do I do this? And I think all too often, at least from my personal experience, that is kind of a bad place to be, especially in the entrepreneurial world and the investment world, in the building great things world. Great things are not built by yourself. And if you're also and can be quite the control freak like I can be at times, we just really get in our own way. And a lot of our answers and a lot of the better growth and a lot of the success and progress that we seek is really on the other side of being courageous and leaning into the faith of finding the who are better at things than you. He alluded to this. He spoke specifically to it. He said in the team dynamics, their team dynamics within their partnerships, it's about finding people who are better at things than you, who are better at different things than you, that bring different skills and different backgrounds to the table, skill sets that are different. There is power in differences, and not just celebrating those differences, but tapping into all of those differences to put the entire piece of the puzzle together of what really creates an amazing team, which essentially produces amazing growth in business and in your life. Learning not just to play well, but learning to capitalize on differences that others have. And so no matter what stage of the game you're at in the building process of your portfolio, of your business, of your life, the goals in which you are striving to accomplish, many of those goals at their greater capacities will be accomplished by tapping into more of the who's. That even goes back to the network component, and less focusing on the how. Less focusing on the how and more focusing on the who's. Learning followed by faithful action is like a crucial component and storyline of Jeff's life. It's easy to see that he is a person through his storytelling, but also the results that he has been able to produce. That is a big part of how he has gotten to where he is now. He is an action taker. He leans into the uncomfortable feeling that comes with doing something that you don't quite feel fully prepared for. Now, I want to give it a special directive here with that, is that many of you might not have the exact same background as Jeff, but one of the things that you can do that I am sure Jeff has done is look back and build confidence, self-confidence in the hard things that you've already done, the things that you've already accomplished, the challenges you've already triumphed over. Those are transferable skills. They might not be the exact same things that you will, triumph over here in this space, but the mindset and the endurance and the perseverance and many other things, those are completely transferable, and we must find the relation between that process and this process that you are undergoing in the multifamily space, or again, whatever avenue of business you choose. I also want to highlight something else. Jeff is a very curious guy. Curiosity has helped him to find new solutions to the better questions that he had been asking himself, that he has asked himself throughout the course of his life. And then couple that curiosity and those better questions that he's learned to ask himself. he started pursuing those better steps by action, he didn't stay stuck in learning about it. Again, I talked about it earlier, but that is a prime example of what to do. And it's also the common storyline or the pattern of success, if you will, because again, success leaves clues that you will find amongst all of the successful individuals in any industry that have grown and done great work. Their curiosity has led them to ask better questions, that those better questions have helped them to produce better action, which ultimately produces better outcomes. Better action, consistently producing better action based off those better questions, produces better results and better outcomes throughout the process of our lives. And so I just want to highlight that, we can really block ourselves off from progress by asking some really just dead-end types of questions. He is a solution-based thinker. And the only way to find real solutions to big problems is to be curious about what is possible, what is out there, how can I go find it, who's doing it already, who can I learn from, how can I be involved in some of the networks that they're involved in, how can I not, poor me, what's my problem? That's a really bad place to be. Whereas, again, the curiosity vein is a great place to be as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a grower, as a goal seeker and achiever. He talked about one root of a growth mindset that I want to highlight really well, and that is that he embraces challenges and has for quite some time. He loves challenges. Now, look, you might want to look at your own life right now. I don't care where you're at on the spectrum, and I want you to genuinely and authentically ask yourself the question, am I a person who does that? Do I embrace challenges? Do I lean into them? Do I pursue them on purpose with purpose? Look, I think a lot of people come into something like multifamily real estate and they're like, this is a great idea. I want to do this. But they haven't yet built that muscle up to be able to accomplish great things there because it's not easy. A lot of people want to tell you it's not easy. Don't buy into the false narrative. None of this is easy. Just like getting up early and going for a run to start your day isn't easy. Just like delivering on being a patient father and having, I'm just speaking to fatherhood because that's who I am, but a mother, whatever, patient conversation with your children, and leaning into a difficult situation with them and helping them work through it and taking the time to do that. Just like, there's a lot of different examples of just challenging things that we can choose to face on purpose with purpose every day. And that's how we build that muscle up. If we can't build that muscle up, that doing the hard thing on purpose with purpose muscle in more simpler ways that we can already deliver on every single day to find success, better results in the day-to-day, it's going to be really hard to embrace a challenge that comes to the forefront of your journey as a multifamily investor, as an investor in real estate, diversification like Jeff, doing something else. Like, it's hard to do and build up to that kind of life and approach when we're not doing the hard things on purpose with purpose on a daily basis and willingly leaning into those things. So again, if you're somebody who's struggling with that root or segment of growth mindset, which again is challenges, embracing challenges, I would highly encourage you and I invite you to take an honest look at your life and then go back into what can I do to exercise this muscle more often, consistently, regularly in my day-to-day, week-to-week, so that when I continue to come back and show up in this space, it's a strong muscle. It's not a muscle that I don't have and then I'm trying to react to situations. It's one of the most powerful things that you can do as a business owner, as an investor, as somebody pursuing lofty goals. I love Jeff's definition of success, and I think that that's an important component to real, authentic, powerful growth in your life is writing that definition down, sticking to it for yourself. Don't let somebody else define what success means for you. Look, it's not money made or net worth, he said. He said it's all about really attacking challenges. Again, this is very transparent, very obvious for Jeff. Waking up and striving to just be a little bit better today than I was yesterday. What a great definition of success. What a sustainable definition of success. And I think that's something that I want to kind of close out with here. A couple more bullet points. Creating sustainable systems for growth. Systems have been created for Jeff to not hit burnout with the massive amount of things he's trying to do at a high level. He's coaching his son's travel baseball team. I can relate there. I do the same thing. I coach a 10U baseball team, and it can be heavy. It's not easy to coach 10-year-olds. And baseball is a difficult sport, and dealing with parents, and they're great, but they also, you have to be able to communicate with them. And there's so many things that come along with it, and it can be all consuming unless you've built systems in your business, in your growth process, within your goals, within your life in totality, and getting really strategic about that. If you can do that, then those things become less stressful because you're not striving to react. You're just striving in accordance and in alignment with your real goals, within the real systems that you've built, that you're able to wake up and deliver on because they're built out into your life. And I believe that Jeff is a prime example of the importance of systems to be able to do everything that he is doing. That doesn't happen by reacting. That happens by being proactive, getting out ahead of the curve, knowing what your values and your goals are, having clarity on those things, and then building systems in your life around those things and weeding everything else out. And if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. I also wanted to end with this. He talked about how people can read through your BS. Authenticity, realness, it really is a crucial component to long-term success in any endeavor. Authenticity and realness, those things are sustainable. You want to know what's not is being fake and bending and being flexible with the wind every single time you meet somebody new and different. Trying to be something you are not will not work in the long haul. It might work short term. It will not. They will sniff it out. People will sniff that out. So don't be afraid to meet the people you're striving to connect with where you are at, not where they are at. Meet them where you are at. They'll appreciate it. And business will flow better. Connections and real relationships will be created. So like Jeff said, be genuine. Be genuine. I was going to touch on a couple other things, but we're already kind of running long, so I'm going to close this thing out. One last thing was this, that at the end of the interview, Jeff briefly talked about the importance of choosing a direction and making the decision to go all in. This is key for growth. It means saying no to certain things so you can say yes to what really matters. It truly is the way to defeat analysis paralysis. It's to stop thinking about the options and finding the courage to choose the one, to go, to close the door on the other things and open it up to the essential, opening it up, walking into it, and then actually closing that door. Saying yes to a direction and going is better than weighing out all of these options and opportunities. I promise the only thing you're missing out on is if you don't make a decision. I loved this week's interview with Jeff. He's an amazing man. Zach's an amazing man. Big thanks to the both of them. And if you haven't already, go connect with both of these men. They're amazing humans striving to do great work for the right reasons. Add them to your network. Go, join, be a part of this process with like-minded individuals like Jeff, like Zach. I loved hearing Jeff's story. Again, there's so much to be learned from it, and if you haven't already, go listen to it. Go back and listen. It is 100% worth your time. Thanks, everybody, as always, for joining us here on the podcast. It is a pleasure to be able to serve you in your journey, and we will see you guys back here on the podcast next week.
Multifamily Mindset Podcast. Think bigger.